G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's lunchtime on Monday. It's a glorious autumn Sydney day, as you can see. There's a gentle breeze blowing across the harbour, and the wind... Where's the wind blowing from? Let me have a look at the harbour bridge, just bear with me. Yeah, the wind is blowing from a westerly direction, and it's really, really pleasant. So what I'd like to do today on this lunchtime is to take you through another book summary, an interesting book entitled Game Changers by David Asprey, and see where it leads us. So the author in this book kicks off with a quote where he implores us and calls us to action, saying that you must focus on what makes you happy today. Listen up, because this is really powerful. You must focus on what makes you happy today, right now, this instant, because being happy unlocks a new level of potential in everything you do. I'll just pause just to allow that to sink in. And I remember my mother always used to say, when I was doing things or when she'd ask me to do something, and she goes, "Pedimo an tocanis me agapi, que na me tocanis me agaria." And this is a little bit similar to what this author is suggesting here. What my mother was always saying is that whatever you do, do with love, enjoy what you're doing, and don't do it with a heavy heart or with the wrong attitude, I guess, is one way of trying to translate it. It's a little bit hard to translate. But the author here makes a very, very powerful and valid point that you must focus on what makes you happy today and right now, because happiness unlocks a new level of potential in everything you do. Interesting, powerful, and pretty awesome. I love that. I love that quote, and I will use it as often as I can and pass it on, because it does change your mindset. It gets you to think in a different way, because it makes sense. It just makes logical sense that if you're happy and you're doing something with love and happiness and joy, then clearly the output is going to be far superior than if you were doing it and not really enjoying what you're doing and being shitty all about it. So the author then introduces a term which I've never heard before, but I'm sure that we'll hear a lot about it going forward into the future. And there's a thing called biohacking. And biohacking is a method of manipulating our ancient biology. In other words, how we were pre-wired and how we were set up, manipulating our ancient biology to better serve our modern goals and our modern needs. So I kind of think I know where this is heading, given a lot of the other book summaries that I've done, but let's see if we eventually get there. So, peeling the onion another layer, the author then informs us that our brain is a prehistoric operating system with only one goal, and that goal is to allow us to survive and propagate the series. Yeah, so this is exactly where I thought this book summary was going to lead us. So it's basically saying that our prehistoric brain, our reptilian brain, has one clear goal, and that is to keep us alive and to keep us surviving and propagating. So it focuses our prehistoric brain, so the way we are naturally wired, it focuses on the 3 F's. And do you know what those 3 F's are? It's very, very funny. So the 3 F's are feed. So we want to make sure that we're fed in order to survive. It focuses on fear, so keeping us safe from the things that can cause us harm and kill us, such as saber-toothed tigers and lions, tigers and bears and other things. And the 3rd F is, I can't say it because it is a children's program, but the F represents reproduction. So we've got to learn how to force our brain to stop obeying those 3 F's all the time. Otherwise, we'll live a life in constant fear. We'll be overfeeding ourselves and be obese, lethargic, and have health issues. And we'll spend too much time bonking. And while that's not too bad, but there are other just as important things that we need to do in order to bring balance to our lives. So the author then kicks off and talks about some important lessons. So the first lesson, the first formal point to pull out of this book summary, is where the author asks us to decide who you want to become and use the time and language that you have accordingly. So once you decide, once you sit and project into the future and map out who you want to become, then the next thing you need to do is to make it happen. And to make it happen, you need to make the most of the time you've got available to you, and you need to also leverage the language that you use and the stories you tell yourself so that you stay on the right path and you don't get caught up in negativity and basically losing yourself within yourself. So the author then goes on to instruct us to delete, make sure that we grab our to-do lists for those who do have to-do lists, and to delete from that to-do list all the things that are not aligned to your goals and to the vision of who you want to be and how you want to live. So a simple call to action. It's a little bit hard for me to explain that one to my boss, who has an input into my to-do list. But you know what I mean. There are some things that you simply have to do in order to keep a job, but there are other things which are optional. And what we're talking about here is looking at the optional things that we normally get sucked into and being very, very pig-headed and hard-nosed in terms of what we agree to and what we say we simply just won't do anymore. So on that note, the author says, stop doing things you hate. And a lot of the times we do the things that we hate just to demonstrate to the people around us that we can do it. So that's a bit childish and it's a bit stupid to just do things, just to prove to others that you can do it. Just remember to just do the things that create value to yourself, to the definition and the image that you have of yourself, and to the people around you that you love and cherish. The other thing is that we need to try and reduce, according to this author here, this is really interesting as well, we need to reduce the decisions that we are forced to make every day. And the author here suggests that high achievers, top performers, wear the same clothes, the same type of clothes every day to limit their choices and to avoid decision fatigue. I've never heard of decision fatigue before, but I can quite appreciate what it means. Decision fatigue is having to be forced over and over and over again to decide on what you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, how you're going to do this, how you're going to do that, basically wears us out. And it gets to the point where you just give up on your willpower, and then you're living in chaos from that point on. So if you look over time, I guess a brilliant example is going to school. When we were kids, we had our school uniforms. Everybody would wear the same school uniform, same colour shirt, same colour pants, same colour shoes. Everything was the same. And you didn't have to worry, you didn't have to think. There was no stress at home in terms of, were my Gucci runners cleaned, or did we have that right branded polo shirt? One of the challenges that I always have is whenever I go to Greece, I see the Greek children going to school and just wearing brands from head to toe, and just wondering the pressure that those poor parents are under to wash, to buy, to mend, to make available, to coordinate the clothes so that the kids feel like they're fitting in. Steve Jobs was a brilliant example from the corporate world. Didn't bother wearing a suit, didn't bother wearing a shirt or tie, just wore the same old clothes every day, or the same type of clothes, the black t-shirt with the jeans. And he spent his effort and his decision power in making decisions that made a difference, as opposed to trying to power dress and to impress those around them. Because the author goes on to say that we need to save our brain energy for things and decisions that matter most. And we also must incorporate and use words wisely and very, very carefully, because the language, the syntax, the clarity of our expression to ourselves and others around us make a massive, massive difference to our conscious and subconscious well-being. Because what happens is that language, the language that we choose to use, can set barriers. So the author then goes on to say that we need to choose the words and the language very, very carefully, so that failure is never an option. So the vocabulary that you choose to use, the words that you use, the stories that you say are very, very important to your well-being, as well as to the ability for you to manifest your dreams, your goals, and to attract the gifts that are available to us, and to basically experience it's escaped me. It'll come to me soon. So the next point that the author talks about is well-being, and well-being is essential for you to be fast at doing what you care for and what is good for you. What is good for your mental capacity, your physical capacity, your relationship capacity. Focusing on well-being will allow you to live better. So we need to incorporate into our life good food which is nutritious, and we also need to exercise properly, because those three things, food, nutrition and exercise, will help empower us and make it easier for us to achieve our goals and to live our dreams. The next point that the author makes is a brilliant one, and I'm going to incorporate it into my lifestyle from the next time I sit down at a table. And the author says, and I quote, "Finish your salad and your vegetables first before you start consuming any protein." So in other words, fill up on your leafy greens, fill up on your broccoli, your cauliflower, and all those wonderful tasting vegetables with all the textures and the properties. And then once you're filled up with that, then you can start indulging in protein, but doing it sparingly. And the last point that the author talks about, and quite a few books, quite a few authors have said the same thing over and over again. I'm sure that I've mentioned this in quite a few of my 5 a.m. clubs. But then again, if you review 1,000 books, or if you put out 1,000 vlogs, then sooner or later you're going to be touching on the same material time and time again. But what the author here reminds us of and about is that being rich won't make you happy, but being happy will make you rich. Because at the end of the day, no high performer that you'll come across sees money as a source of joy. So it's all about deciding to find happiness, deciding to be happy, and expressing happiness in everything you do. So the call to action from this author is decide right now to be happy right now. Abandon conditional happiness. Once again, I haven't heard of the word conditional happiness, but it's an if or. Now, if this happens, I'll be happy, or if this is achieved, I'll be happy. So the author says that you should try and abandon conditional happiness, which depends on external circumstances, and to find inner peace and to be grateful for what you have and what you have had and what you're going to have in your wonderful life. So I think I'll leave it there for today on this beautiful autumn Sydney day. The book summary that we've just finished and explored and enjoyed, I really enjoyed this one here, is entitled Game Changers by Dave Asprey. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, let's become game changers in our lives by learning how to biohack, how to control our minds, and not to spend too much energy and too much of our time chasing the 3 F's, the fear, feed, and reproduction, and doing other things which are just as empowering and just as enjoyable. There are more things than sex. There's more things in life that are good feed, and there are certainly many enjoyable moments that we can achieve and experience without being threatened with fear. So choose your language carefully. And try and incorporate happiness in your life by just choosing to be happy and not being conditionally happy. And try and eliminate a lot of the silly decisions, the silly rules that we have in our lives, and make it our days a little simpler so that we don't experience decision fatigue, and we can just get on and focus on the things which create the most impact and have the best return on our investment. And importantly, stay well. Focus on your well-being, enjoy good food, which is nutritious, and exercise wherever you can. And wherever you can also, eat your salad and vegetables first, your fruit, before you have your protein. And just be happy. Don't be stressed. So thank you, and I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment. I'm having my flu vaccination today, and I'm scheduled to go there at 1:45. And in 2 weeks' time, I will be having my AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccination. of which I have no fear. I have no worry, and I'll just do it, and I'll get through it. I used to work with a fellow years ago, Ian Glover, and I used to say to him, Ian, aren't you scared, mate? Aren't you scared of flying? Because you fly all the time. You fly for work, and you're always up in the sky. And Ian said to me, James, I'm not scared, mate, because even if a plane falls out of the sky that I'm on, I have the strong belief that I will be a survivor. Even if everybody else is torched and died or die, I will most certainly survive that plane crash. And I said to myself back then, what an awesome attitude, and what a beautiful, brilliant way to live. And I've tried to incorporate that into my life, and I welcome and invite each and every other person who has the opportunity to listen to this vlog to follow the same. So Yassas, take care, and we'll chat again shortly. Bye for now.